and
Oddworld.
Hey oddballs, I'm your host Jensen, and welcome to episode 128. Well, I just realized that this episode plus 2 more is it. It's it for the year of 2024, guys. And I've been slowly making some changes to some artwork and things. I'm just kind of making it up as I go, honestly. Just changing it when I feel like it needs a good refresh. Also, next year, I'm going to have some new kind of segment. I'll still have the mythical creatures, which we're going to learn one today. And of course, I'm still going to have the birthday book because, well, there are 365 days out of the year, and I'm not going to get through all of those unless I just start doing it every single episode. Even then, that'll still take me a few years to get through. Anyhow, nonetheless, very slight changes coming to the future, and let's go ahead and learn about that mythical creature. It's lesson time. Today's mythical creature is the pixie. Pixies aren't fairies, as many believe. They're beautiful, mystical creatures from Celtic folklore, often described as tiny, mischievous beings with wings. They're the biggest enemies of fairies. Pixies symbolize the magic of nature, the joy of life, and the importance of appreciating the little things. Seeing a pixie in your thoughts or dreams is a call to connect with nature and find joy in the small things in life. Oh, I really like this one because one of my favorite sayings is just enjoy the little things. So this is kind of perfect. I love this. And also thinking of pixies makes me think of Harry Potter. And if you know what I'm talking about, then great, we can be friends. But if you don't, guess what? We can still be friends because you're here. So if this applies to your life, or honestly, if you just enjoyed it, let me know. And let's go ahead and move on to stories.
This comes from AXIME_THXGHS on Reddit.
My family and I moved last year to a house in a little town. We were told that the old lady who lived here before us had passed away in the house, and possibly her husband as well. We've had a couple of weird things happen, like weird noises, things falling off the shelves. But lately, we've seen a lot of things. The first time I saw it, it was like 2 a.m. and I got up from bed to go to the washroom. And I saw someone walk into the kitchen. I said hello, because I thought it was one of my parents, and no one responded. So I walked in and no one was there. But it was late, so I thought I was just seeing things. So down to today, I had just woken up, home alone. But I didn't know that. I got out of bed to go get my medicine, and I'm bad at taking pills. It always takes me a couple tries. So I'm standing in the kitchen, looking out the window, and I see a black figure walk behind me to the hallway. I said hi again because I thought it was maybe my dad. Once I finished with my pill, I walked through the hallway rooms, and no one was there. Weird. So I went to see if there were cars still there, and they weren't. So, hello, ghost. I'm freaking. And I call my dad and ask if anyone was home. And he said, just you. I was freaking out and babbling. And he said, you saw it too? What? He saw the shadow walking too. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not seeing this stuff. He reassures me that it's a friendly spirit. And I go sit down. One of my dogs was sitting beside me, and I heard what sounded like footsteps at the end of the hallway. I can't see from where I'm sitting, so I call my other dog because maybe I'm just freaking myself out. Well, she was beside me and I didn't realize it. All of a sudden, I hear running down the hallway. It was so freaky, but kind of cool. So this has really solidified it for us that there is definitely at least one spirit here. If anyone has any recommendations if I should make contact or something, I'm not sure what to do. Do I just let it be? Because I know something has to be quite powerful to show itself and push objects and make noise, so I don't know. Anyway, wish me luck. Actually, hi. It's the same day. Keep that in mind. I feel sick. I'm so scared. I just called my mom to tell her what happened earlier. We found out the spirit's name, and my mom is really excited for a ghost friend. And she was talking to her over the phone. Anyway, I went into the kitchen to make food for her before she got home and hung up the phone. My dog Daisy and I were in the kitchen, and I talked to my doggy a lot. I said, "Ha, wouldn't it be funny if I saw the ghost again?" And a couple of seconds later, my dog's hair went up and she started growling at nothing. She never growls or gets scared at anything. And the one light in the kitchen started flickering. We've never had this issue before, and all the other lights that were on were completely fine. Now I'm sort of just ranting about it, so I'm not so freaked out. But now I'm kind of worried my mom set it off by talking to her and using her name. Even though my mom and dad have seen it and heard stuff, I'm like, maybe I'm just hallucinating. Well, my dear, if you are hallucinating, then so is the rest of your family. And here's the thing, I wouldn't necessarily be scared of it just yet. I know it is freaky that, lights are flickering, you're seeing a shadow, things are happening, but nothing sounds malicious to me. Yes, is it scary? Absolutely. If you've never experienced anything like this before and you don't typically just have things happen, yeah, it's definitely freaky. And you know what? Honestly, you don't have to accept it either. Just because it's happening, just because it's there, doesn't mean you have to deal with it, or at least you can try not to. Typically, what I suggest is if you just kind of acknowledge that it's there and say, you stay on your side, I'll stay on my side, and we can coexist in peace. Usually I feel like that makes things okay, because not all the spirits are malicious and they're literally just kind of there. And maybe this person is stuck there. Maybe it's the person who lived in the house and died in the house, but you could always try to help them move on if you wanted to. For that, I would definitely see if the spirit wants to move on. In that case, you will definitely have to try to make contact with the spirit. But if you would rather not, you can just tell them to leave you alone and honestly just be kind about it. This spirit may not even know that they're dead. I'm telling you, you guys have to watch the others. But it's like the others. Maybe they don't know that they're passed away and they're like, who the hell are you? And why are you in my house? So to them, you're the spirit. Now, I don't really know that that's the case. I just really like that movie, and I feel like it actually could apply in real life. I don't know, I'm kind of just talking out my ass now, but I would say just do the coexist thing, see how things are, say, hey, you can stay here, but I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. You're scaring me and I don't like it. Just like that. Just be kind, be cool. And then if it ramps up from there or if it just doesn't stop, well, then you'll have to find another route. But I think it's going to be okay. It is scary, but I think it's going to be okay. And if anybody else has any other suggestions that are not just my own, please let me know. And let's go ahead and move on to the next story.
This comes from Red Pumpkin 722 on Reddit.
My first childhood home belonged to my grandparents. For context, it was a 2-story home with rooftop access. It was a rural country, so the home wasn't very developed. It was common for neighbors and family to come over and do laundry on our rooftop so they could hang clothes to dry. We stored a lot of 5-gallon buckets of paint that were recycled to carry water. Growing up, she always told me not to play with them, and I played it off as a precautionary tale, which it was, but I didn't know there was a backstory. Decades ago, a mother and her daughter were doing laundry upstairs when the young girl drowned in one of the buckets. She jumped into one full of water to cool down. Her mother carelessly stepped out, and the girl got stuck. With the bucket too heavy for a child under 5 to topple over, she drowned without anyone noticing she was gone. As years went by, my grandmother stayed at the house and began seeing wet footprints appearing around the house. Small footprints that would start and end in the middle of a room without any form of dripping water around. Footprints that would be nowhere near any source of water. Oof, this one is a good one. Those little ones are always good ones. I'm telling you, if you have a small, short story, they're still great. I like that this one has a backstory. It's a very heartbreaking, sad backstory. But holy shit, that little girl is walking around and leaving wet footprints. Oh, stories like this, where you know what has happened to the person who has died, especially when they're just children. Oh my God, when they're children, it's even more heartbreaking. But knowing the backstory behind it, it's a mix of emotions for me, because on one hand, I'm like, holy shit, there are footprints that are wet that are just appearing in the room, and it's definitely got to be this little girl. On the other hand, my heart is also like, oh my God, this poor little girl. I just want you guys to know, basically, I'm not just a heartless bitch who just like loves ghost hunting and ghosts and everything about it, because like I do. Don't get me wrong about that. I love it, but I still have a heart and I care about these poor people. Like I've said it before and I'll say it again, but like spirits are just us on the other side. That's what I believe. And I don't know, that just hurts my heart to know that this little girl drowned. And if that doesn't make you sad, then I don't know. I'm not calling you an asshole, but like, you know, I'm just kidding. I'm just in a like goofy, giggly mood tonight, okay? I'm just letting you know. Anyhow, I really do like this story. It's really creepy, but also it's pretty awesome. Anyhow, if you have a story like either story today or any paranormal story in general, let me know. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And well, it's an odd world after all. Oddballs, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to leave 5 stars or thumbs up on whatever podcast platform you listen on. If you have any comments for this episode, comment below or head over to Instagram and comment on this episode's preview. To submit a story or for more information, go to itsanoddworldafterall.com.